Today we're going to be looking at this brand new article for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This is a beginner's guide going over some different pieces of information, and there's a couple things that I really wanted to showcase to you guys, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. The first one's going to be the HUD, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. You guys know how HUDs work: HP, key gauge, skill count. You got this little meter here that goes all the way up, and once it does, you get your skill count, so it's a passive thing. You got your hit count, you got your transformation icon, tells you when you can transform, and that's based also on your skill count. Those things play a key part and a lot of different things, right? So your HP, your key gauge. The only thing I'll kind of note on anybody who has not played these games before is the key gauge. Once you go to your max, so basically you go all the way to the yellow, and then you'll go up one more time all the way to purple, and then it'll essentially put you into sparking mode, which is what they call it. And this will allow you to use your all. It'll give some different routes for combos, and it'll also give you, I think, it decreases your dash or use of key blast abilities in game super attacks. Once the key bar becomes red, you will not be able to move until it turns back to normal. So it looks like you'll be able to do a couple different things, but it does require at least one of those skill gauges, which those are shared with transformations and such like that. So it'll be a resource that you have to kind of pay attention to, because you cannot manually get it. You pretty much just have to passively work on it. So it's one of those big things. So the skill count is used when you perform various moves such as transformations, fusions, and skills. And revenge counter. Revenge counters that are new defense mechanic. So you're going to have to use those as well for that. So it really will be a resource you're going to want to pay attention to. Charges over time. And then transformation icon, hit icon, timer. You guys know how that works. All those things are pretty easy. Controls. This is one thing I wanted to talk about. I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit. It's going to send me all the way down here for some reason. But this is something I want to talk about because I've seen a lot of people kind of confused by the naming scheme. Especially if you're coming from like fighting games, you will see classic and standard, and you'll be like, okay, classic must mean that you're putting a manual input, and standard must be like the easier route essentially. So that's usually what that means in fighting games. Like Street Fighter has modern, and then they have classic. Classic would mean that you're putting all your, diagonals, you're putting all your spins in there. And then modern would be like it has passed and stuff like that are kind of pre-designated and a little bit easier for newer beginners to be able to do stuff. And usually classic is like more of a, gives you more routes, gives you more damage and stuff like that. But in this game, all it really means is that the triggers and the bumpers up top are switched, right? So if you look at this one, your standard is key charge and guard, and then descend and ascend. And then in this one particularly, they switch it over. So you pretty much go descend, ascend. And then you have key charge, and you have revenge counter here, and then your guard circle instead. So they have a couple of different things. The face values here, I think the only one that's changed there is circle, so you can kind of see. And then also your RS, or your like R3 is what I used to call it back in the day. I guess they changed it. Your right stick though, whenever you click it in and do some different things on standard, it looks like that's the revenge counter. Press it when being attacked. And then on the classic, which is going to be pretty much what you played on Budokai Tenkaichi. So if you played Budokai Tenkaichi and you've been playing a lot of it to kind of get ready for Sparking Zero, classic is going to be the one that you're going to be the most familiar with. You just kind of have to get used to the revenge counter being the L1. And then I think that is about it. So you should be pretty good to go. And then standard, I mean, that's what they recommend you play it on. So if you're brand new to the game, I would just kind of go back and forth and see which one works. But totally not that much difference in terms of like what they're actually going to be doing. So I see a lot of people just getting confused about it. So this is nice that they cleared it up. This can change. Oh, this will also change the way that you do some different things like QTE sequences. So this is kind of one of those things where if you are wanting to play on classic, you might want to reconsider, because this goes back into the spinny binny binnies. Okay, you're going to ruin your controllers if you go to classic. I'm just telling you that now. Standard is going to give you that nice little like button mash thing instead, which is a lot easier in your controllers because buttons are meant to be pressed. I don't know if sticks are meant to be spent, at least that aggressively. So it's up to you. Obviously, that's another thing to be thinking about when you go for standard or classic. Standard controls here, so they're not going to be really that much different, but this is going to go over like basically some things you could think about in terms of like, guard and all that different stuff. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because they actually added a tutorial that like the old Tenkaichis did have, but it looks like it's a little bit more in depth. It's going to give you combo routes and all the different things to really get you going, and we'll kind of cover that when the game actually comes out. So we got guard. Obviously, this is just going to be able to do down guard, high guard. If you've never played these games before, you have a low and a high block, and you have a middle block. You just hold the block button for the middle block, and you have to think about which way you're going to block. Usually the character attacking you will give you an indication, overhead, under, some different things like that to think about. You got your short dash, your step dash. This is pretty much just like kind of an engage. Sometimes the little footsies here. And then you got to send, jump, descend and stuff like that. That's pretty standard. Kind of understand that. Smash attack is your charge attack. You send them flying with that boy. And your key blast is boom, boom, boom. Key blast, right? Your rush chain. So this is the interesting thing. It does give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on with X and square there. But again, this is going to be more of like an tutorial stuff. When you get into combo routes and what you're kind of doing, you're going to want to jump in the lab a little bit. Tenkaichi seems a little easy on the surface, but there's a lot of stuff in it that makes it a lot more complex. So it definitely has like an easy to entry, but the ceiling is very high on Tenkaichi, and I think people are going to realize that very quickly if this game is anything like that, which is shaping up to be just like that. So there's going to be a lot of combo routes and a lot of things you're going to have to learn that the tutorial is just not going to teach you, and they're going to give you just like a little piece of the pie. Key charge rather, you're going to be able to charge your key. Pretty self-explanatory with that one. So understanding battles. So this is kind of another interesting thing I wanted to talk about. So there's a lot of different ways to enjoy battles, given the many different customization options, stats, metrics, and more. Let's take a look at the different possibilities. So the first thing is going to be stats. This game has already came on record saying that if you are Krillin, you are going to have stats like Krillin. If you're Gogeta, you're going to have stats like Gogeta, okay? So each character has their own stat tree. It can be influenced by customization, transformation, or current state, form fusion, and it displays the following metrics. So we got special attack. This increases the strength of the blast and ultimate blast. HP increases the stat given a higher number of HP. The combo, and this increases the damage dealt by combos. The key here gives high key stats, allowing the character to perform stronger key blasts and or charge the key faster. So you'll actually be able to charge your key a little bit quicker if your certain characters attack. The stat increases the power of smash and hand-to-hand combat. So just a couple of different things to look out at when you're looking at your actual character and what they actually mean when it comes into how you're going to fight, because you might actually want to fight your strategy based on stuff. If you're going to go in for more combos because you're a combo heavy character, or you're going to try to be a little bit further in distance, mid distance, because you're a key based character, that's going to be something you're going to think about, especially when you jump into customization and transformation, because you can actually add like capsules and stuff like that from the old Tenkaichi stuff to kind of inflate and kind of fluctuate some different things. I don't know if the actual ranking is going to have kind of like what Xenoverse does, where they have like a capped version of it where you're basically on the same power level and you just kind of see who's better. And then they have like an uncapped free-for-all type of shit where you can just go in there and whatever capsules and customization you have. I'm kind of wondering how they're going to do that. Customization though, here's the customization. I think a lot of you guys are going to be very happy with this one. So your outfits, you can change the character's outfits based on your unlocked items and costumes. Note that this will only change the cosmetic. It does not have an impact on the character's stats, but it can sometimes change the move set when equipped. So you can actually have different move sets for a character based on what they're wearing, which is super cool. Accessories, you can also choose to equip specific characters with their anime accessories to reproduce their famous moves or partially change the look. They got Halo. It's funny that they say Scooter. I'm pretty sure they meant Scouter here, and then you got your aura as well. This has been something, I don't even remember the last game that they did this, Ultimate Tenkaichi or something, where you can actually change the aura with them, which we know how that looks. That's phenomenal the way that it's been looking. So I'm be kind of ecstatic to see what we come up with. But other than that, it looks like we're going to be able to reproduce certain famous moves. So you're going to be able to do accessories and outfits to change some of your different moves, which will be pretty interesting to be able to see what that kind of looks like. We have a little bit of a chance to look at what's going on. Some different versions of Goku and Super, obviously you can see him with his shirt off, him with his like, just his undershirt. And then you got even one from, without an undershirt, which I really like that one. This is particularly, I think, in the Super, but whenever he was fighting Raditz, I like that kind of gimmick, that little look he's got going on. So that also means that we might be able to get some different like variations of different, Saiyan armor, you got all that kind of stuff, man. This is exactly what we're hoping for, is like the skins. I can't wait to see like a Trunks or, man, just anything. So we got types here. This defines the additional characteristics and abilities based on the character type you select. So this type thing's a little confusing because I don't see it on this screen, so I don't necessarily know what it means. I'm wondering if type means like tanky, or like, you just have like a general stat boost, as well as like, you're a fighter or you're a tank or whatever, and it gives you like, HP with key or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know necessarily what the type means in terms of that. I haven't really seen it. You also have ability items. You can enhance your character's ability, speed, strength, HP through capsule customization. This was very, very common in Tenkaichi. Obviously, they didn't have online back then, so we'll kind of have to see how that works. Like I said, probably be a Xenoverse thing where they split it into different categories where you can fight, in a balanced area or an unbalanced area. But yeah, customization, bro. It's going to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to choose different characters and what they look like, man. But that's pretty much it for this whole entire article. I'm super stoked for this one, obviously, to be able to see what's going on. Let me know what you guys think about the customization. What are you going to be seeing? What kind of outfits do you want to see for your characters, bro? Like what kind of different mismatches and stuff like that? Because I imagine it's going to be like, because you can even see the arrow here, so it can just kind of keep going. So if you have a certain like Z outfit for Goku that, you know, he didn't really wear in super or whatever, you can actually choose it if you like the super variant of him because he has different moves and shit.